people. I'm Dax.
And I'm Em.
And this is Full His House,
your Full House fancast.
And today we are covering Season 1, Episode 15. Danny has an important newscast, but Stephanie ends up getting chickenpox along with Jesse and Joey. DJ gets invited to her first sleepover. Overall thoughts of this episode?
You know what? This episode was interesting. As somebody who definitely lived in a house while several people had, chickenpox at once. Honestly, we all had chickenpox at like basically the same time. Once one person had it, we all had it. So that was an interesting thing. This one was actually a bit more relatable than what I'm used to with this series. So this was fun.
It was a fun episode. Not too much other than just a day at the household going on.
Yeah.
It's not one of my favorites, but it's one that I enjoy. And it's just it's a Full House episode. So we start out in the living room right by the door. Jesse and the Rippers are jamming. They're doing some acapella, cool little 50s doo-woppy moment. And
which I actually enjoyed very much.
Oh, so fun!
I actually enjoyed it a lot.
I love moments like this in Full House. And this is kind of where I think Fuller House missed the mark a little bit. Apologies to the fans out there. Apologies to any of the cast members, writers, or producers who may or may not ever get this. But Fuller House made it like they had actual musical numbers that were like narrating the situation. I don't know if that counts as recitative or whatever, but whereas in Full House, it's just we are living our lives and we are all singing a song. We're not narrating what we're doing. Like in Fuller House, they had this whole thing like, oh, it's going to be the best summer ever. And then there's this whole number with DJ and I was going to call him Scott, but DJ and, her boyfriend when they get back together and they do a whole, like, it's just odd and it's weird and it's not true Full House music. Full House is a very musical show, but not in that way. And this is probably one of the first moments where we get some of their kind of more organic, authentic music. And it's super fun. Love it.
Yeah.
And as they're singing their song, Danny's like moving Michelle's legs to the beat, and it's actually really freaking hilarious.
It was so cute.
And when they end the song, Danny's like, all right, one more time, you gotta get up. And everyone's just hating like on Danny just wanting to get in on this. And it's just like, yo, let my man sing, bro. And then he says, if we were all in the shower, you'd be begging for more. I'm like, you know what, Danny, that's right. We would be begging for more.
I mean, fair. In the shower is crazy though. I'm not gonna lie.
Those acoustics be making me sound like Mariah.
Nah, just be making you feel like Mariah. There is a massive difference. I'm just saying, for anybody out there who feels like they sound like Mariah or Whitney in the shower, the acoustics are great, but it's also because you're biased. It's coming out your mouth. It's okay though. We don't need to sound like that. We're in the shower. That's entertainment meant for us, not to sell millions of copies.
Yeah. I'm no Mariah, but maybe I am. So they sing their goodbye song. The applause from the audience is resonating, and we can kind of, this is great acting and just directing, I think, on the show's part. You can see that Stephanie is just not feeling well the second she is on screen, like even during the song. And Danny asks how she's feeling, and she says, I feel yucky. And he moves her to the couch, and she says, I still feel yucky. And Danny checks her head and notices that she's a little warm. All the boys compare their heads to each other's heads, to her head, and, they feel like, and she's got a fever, and she's
flying
sweating.
Everywhere.
Hands it's pretty silly, but it's a funny moment. So she has a fever, she's sweating, and Danny observes that she has the chicken pox. And Danny says that he's had it. Jesse's had it too. And Joey's like, don't got it, never have, never will. I'm immune.
Oh yeah,
And
this was the moment I knew immediately he was gonna be getting the chicken pox.
well, yeah.
Immediately, I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. This is gonna be interesting.
He's and I think Jesse gives us a hat. Nobody's immune to the chicken pox. And he's like, every kid in my class had them, but me. I'm an awesome physical specimen. Joey says, germs take one look at my body and say, hey, why waste our time? And Jesse says, women say the same thing. Excellent joke.
Excellent joke. Very adult. I was kind of here for it. I mean,
it was adult without being inappropriate.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's inappropriate if you understand it, but that's the best part about their kind of adult jokes is that they kind of throw those adult jokes in there in a way where if you're an adult, you'll get it. But if you don't get it, it's not meant for you. I'm here for that.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. Danny is worried about Michelle and, possibly her being exposed.
She, her, yeah.
Yeah. And Danny tries to put Stephanie to bed, but she is super itchy, and the whole house has a bunch of remedies for her. She's wearing these oven mitts to keep her from scratching, and Stephanie will do anything to recover because tomorrow a real ballerina is coming to the school. And I honestly feel like at this point, Danny should have broke it to her like, that shit ain't happening, girl. Like,
yeah, like it's not gonna happen. I'm so sorry. I know you want it. And it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen right now. I feel like that's definitely a conversation that should happen. Yeah, let me realistic look. Like I get something that she really wanted to do, but it is like definitely something they should have just kind of, cut the band-aid off with. She shouldn't have been thinking that there was really even a possibility of that.
Yeah, the poor thing's just like really excited about this. DJ brings her some juice and Stephanie chugs it and asks for orange, which I understand. When you're sick, it's orange juice that you want. Apple's great, grapes great, but we all know that orange juice is the magical tonic of getting better. Jesse walks in looking like he should be spinning from the ceiling of a disco, as Danny would put it. And Jesse says that Stephanie has to get tough and not scratch, and makes her do the grr thing. And Joey's like, growling police. I have Teddy itch no more. He also gives her an effing blowhorn. You couldn't get a bell?
Yeah, again, this is one of those moments where I'm like, Joey does things on purpose. Joey does things on purpose.
Yo, ever since you called that out, it just keeps presenting itself as true.
Yes.
He's very calculated. He's very like Joey Night Shyamalan. Like he knows what he's doing.
It's crazy. Joey Night Shyamalan is crazy. I was not prepared for that. Oh gosh, that's funny as heck. Okay.
So Danny announces that he is going to be able to put on a uniform and sit on the bench with the team, and which I think is a really exciting thing to be able to do when you're a sportscaster. That's when I was a kid, I got to sit in the dugout at Yankee Stadium because my school trip took a tour. Like that's really cool. Like being able to sit in those areas, like that's pretty special. So good for Danny.
Yeah, I agree. That's dope.
Yeah, I love to see Danny's career advancements. All the boys announce their availability, and DJ says that she has her first sleepover, so she'll be gone, which is exciting. Your first big sleepover as a girl. I
remember my first big sleepover. I was actually really excited for her, but I also understood what was about to happen, so we can just kind of move to the part that made me angry.
So Stephanie kicks everybody out, and I think it's Joey that says she's really too cute to be your kid, but that sounds more like a Jesse line. I'm forgetting which one of the boys said that. But so DJ is sleeping in the nursery so that Stephanie can rest. I don't understand the logic, but sure. And the blowhorn goes off, and Danny says, something tells me I should check on Stephanie and kill Joey. DJ tries to get... It was such a bad idea. DJ tries to get Michelle to sleep, but she keeps getting up. And DJ does the whole... What did she say? She says, no, bye-bye, night-night, or something like that. Like they go back and forth of her trying to like put her to bed, and it's actually kind of cute. And she finally gives her dog commands and tells her to sit, lie down. And yeah, and they're finally able to get to sleep. Okay, so we are at the next day, And Danny comes down flexing his b-ball skills.
The one thing that I really enjoy about this is that it's always fun to see Danny just kind of like really into his career, because he gets these little opportunities from time to time that just you could tell he's so excited about, and like that's always kind of fun. It at least for like me to see, because we do get a lot of like Danny parenting and Danny having to like, you know, sacrifice, because obviously as a parent you have to sacrifice for your children, that way they can, you know, kind of live, because obviously you've chosen that, you know, you're ready to be a parent, so that's just kind of the burden that you've chosen to take on. But it's always really, really nice to see when Danny gets to be excited for something that's happening for him and not necessarily just his girls.
Correct. And you know, it's just good to see Danny happy, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, look, I love Danny. I will always stand Danny. I know there's been at least an episode where I was just kind of like giving him a lot of, you know, stuff, but like, look,
we hold him to a high standard,
a very high standard, because he's shown too much for me to think that he can't do better. You get me? So when we hit those episodes, I'm like, where's Danny's parenting? Because we've seen him do this consistently. Why is it different now?
Right. Yeah. So we are glad that Danny's just able to be happy right now. Yes. DJ is scarfing down her cereal as Jesse walks down looking like crap. And Joey also walks down looking like crap. And he says, obviously it's malaria. Look at all these mosquito bites.
And oh my gosh.
He's told, face it, you have the chicken pox. And Joey says, all right, fine. But after this, I'm immune. Which...
yeah, everybody is.
Yeah.
That is kind of the point.
Jesse's mom calls. I forget why, but Jesse's mom calls and he tries to confirm with her that he already had the chicken pox. And he's like, Mother, I had the chicken pox. Remember how tough I was? I was still tough. Okay, yeah, no dating. Like, it's just that whole dynamic is just so cute. And just really quickly, I do want to take a second to just acknowledge we haven't met them yet, but there will be two very iconic roles coming in as Jesse's parents, and the the actor who played his father actually just recently passed away. I want to say it was last week at the time of us recording this. We're going to get to him. He's going to show up. I was just thinking about it because, you know, he's on the phone with his mom, even though not really. But just want to quickly say that he will be missed. He was a pivotal actor in the industry, and
100%.
Yeah, and I can't wait. I can't wait till they come around, because I feel like we're gonna have so many great conversations about him and his relationship with Jesse, and you know, how Jesse becomes who he is. But yeah, so Danny is now worried. He needs a sitter, and if those two are going to be sick, he needs somebody to watch Michelle. And they all look at DJ, but her ride is already arrived for the sleepover. And Danny sends her off and asks her to go party hardy, and TJ says,
let's not
Dad,
forget
that was almost hip.
Now, look. Let's not forget that Danny was just downstairs discussing whether or not he should make DJ stay to be a babysitter.
That, I think that comes after, because like he didn't know any of this was happening until like the
No, it happens right as she's leaving, because they're downstairs. They're in Joey's now finished room, since we've kind of bounced around from it being finished and not finished for whatever the reason. She's in Joey's now finished room. Danny is downstairs talking about how he feels like he might ask DJ to do it because he doesn't want to miss this opportunity. DJ comes downstairs and says, "Oh, my ride is here. I'm gonna leave." And this is where she kind of is like, "Oh, are you sure you don't want me to like stay? I know that this is a big thing." And this is when he decides, no, it's fine. But he was 100% contemplating, like, should I just make her stay?
Yeah, well, they all looked at her and contemplated it and then just let her go.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that, like, because I know that on How Rude, Tanneritos, they were very off-put by, like, him possibly parentifying her. I go back and forth with it. I feel like if we're talking about like actual parentification, there's so many different levels of it. And this I feel like kind of makes a little bit of sense. But in any case, so DJ leaves and Danny is on a mission to find another sitter.
Yeah.
And in the next scene, Stephanie tries to sneak out of the house to see her ballerina at school. And while she's dressed up like Mr. Bear. It's so cute.
It's so funny.
She's doing like, they have the music going. She's moving like a private eye. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She's so fucking funny. Owning this. Yeah,
she is 100%.
So Stephanie is still trying to sneak out. We pass through Joey asking for bacon, eggs, toast, juice, and tea. Danny tries to convince his boss not to have him replaced because he'll be there. He's just got to find a sitter. And as she's about to get out of the door, Jesse catches Stephanie. And Stephanie does this whole, "Hello, Mr. Cochran. I'm my friend Karen."
She, you know what? She really tried with that voice too. I thought this was probably the cutest scene in the whole episode so far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she owned this. Like, this is character work, okay, from a child. And this little scene between, Jesse and Stephanie is just super cute. She reveals herself. Jesse calls her out, and he says, sometimes being sick means you have to miss out and you got to be tough. And then she says, "Does that mean you're not mad about missing your doo-wop show?" And he says, "God, I have to miss my doo-wop show." It's like, yeah, it sucks, dude. And then they do the whole "we're gonna be tough" thing. Grr, she does. And they do the chicken pot strut as they hold pinkies and walk up the stairs. So
super cute.
Yeah, just like they're sick and they're gonna handle it. Now, this next scene, from my memory of watching it on rerun television, was gutted by the time I got to it. Joey tells this crazy story about how, look at salmon. They spend their whole life swimming upstream, make love once, and then drop dead.
I'm not gonna lie. When he said that, I was kind of like, wait, really? Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I always knew they swam upstream, but I wasn't aware of that whole life arc. So it kind of just made me sad. I was like, dang. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But look.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
Just the whole, it's not time for the whole use of the whole use of just make love. Like, just the idea of a salmon making love.
I'm surprised she didn't ask what making love means.
Well, he said this to Jesse. This is a conversation between Jesse and Joey.
Jesse, that's right.
None of the girls are in the room right now. But I'm wondering if this line is why that this whole chunk kind of got taken out when I was watching in reruns. Jesse says that Joey is a wimp, and then they do a bet to see who scratches first. And then it's like, it's just hilarious. It's like, oh, you're scratching. I was wondering. Like, they were just like suffering in front of each other.
And then they came up with you know what? It's not actually scratching if you scratch me and I scratch you.
Yeah, we're both tough guys, right? Like, what? Okay, like, you can whatever, man logic, whatever.
Yes.
So they do the whole up down, and Danny walks in while they're in the middle of this. And Danny is still trying to find a sitter, but he is defeated. And Danny thinks about calling DJ, but he stops himself. He realizes that she's been looking forward to this for weeks and it would break her heart, and he just can't do it. So then he's, trying to call other people, starts playing phone with Michelle, and he's just kind of defeated at this moment.
Yeah.
it's kind of sad because it's like, yeah, I mean, this is parenting. You wanted 3 of them. Like you
Yeah,
it's
exactly. I mean, look, and I get that this is not exactly the way that he saw things going because he literally lost his wife, which is why he's in this situation. Like, I get that. But like you just said, like this is a part of parenting. It's losing out on things that you would have otherwise been able to take because you would have been single. But that's just how that goes. You make certain choices, and in making those choices, it tends to cut out other choices that you could have had but can no longer handle. And I feel like he should have just taken this one on the chin, but we will get to that in a second.
so we are, let's see, where are we? Oh, we're at oops. Ah, oops. Ah. Yeah, and of course, again, this is another moment where it's kind of a natural thing with the music. It's not like, this is a little bit narrative-y, but it's not like this whole dance number that they're doing. They're just kind of jamming. It's a natural, organic music moment in Full House. Danny comes down with his sandwiches and the tea, and he's like, "It's delicious and nutritious, and it's great to find affection for the family that I love." Yeah, so it's just like, at least let him have his bars. Like, y'all didn't let him sing earlier, you're not gonna let him sing now, and they didn't even take any of the stuff that he worked on making. Like, what the heck, guys?
It's crazy.
Right? Like, he worked hard on all that. Like, I can understand, well,
really
maybe you should have
hard.
asked who wanted what, but still, like, nobody could take at that point. If I was in the room and I saw nobody else was taking something, be like, all right, give me a tuna sandwich, or you know what I mean? Like, damn.
Something. It's crazy.
Something.
It actually really is. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's poor guy. And he admits, he's just like, I couldn't do it. Couldn't find a sitter. And DJ just shows up downstairs and asks if he still needs a sitter. And he obviously does. And he says, you gave up your slumber party for me. And she's like, you do so much for me. This is my chance to do something for you. And Danny says, do you hear this? Yeah, so this is, I mean, we kind of like, this is kind of the whole meat and potatoes of the episode and the discussion we would probably have about it, right? Like, just the whole, is this parentification? Is this fair? Is this, how do we feel about this?
Your child is not your friend. They're not meant to do anything for you. That's what I feel. That was her first slumber party as her parent. Me personally, I would have said, no, let's get back in the car. I'll grab Michelle. I'm dropping you back off at the slumber party. Because as the parent, this is what I'm meant to do. You're not meant to miss out on first-time experiences because I want to go have an experience that I chose to not have as an adult and as a parent. Again, from Danny's angle, I get it. Oh my God, my little girl's coming through, so I can now go and do this. And I get it. Little win for Danny. I love Danny, so please don't get me wrong. Danny is one of my favorite characters in here. But as a parent, that's her first sleepover. She shouldn't have the adult brain of, you know what, let me cut this short so I can go home and take care of 2 adults and a child.
Yeah, the fact that he didn't, like, he thought about it, but let her be the one to say, okay, fine, I'm willing to do this, does kind of help.
Yes.
I'm also of the opinion that, like, and again, I'm not a parent. I am also the youngest. I would normally not really have to be in this position. But I think that there is some fairness to, well, money has to come into this household, and every once in a while we all have to have a moment where we put things aside just to make sure the household continues going. It should not be on any of the kids. I'm not saying that it's appropriate to do so, but I think that it's nice that DJ had, stepped up in that way, even though she definitely did not have to.
Here's my thing. Do you think she would have stepped up in that way if Danny didn't remind her at least 3 or 4 times that he does not have a babysitter and is worried he will not be able to do this and how much he really wants to do it? Because it felt like it was manipulation a little bit. Here are all the reasons why I want to do it. It's very important to me. Oh, but I can't find a babysitter. Why does your daughter need to know any of those? She wouldn't have made that choice if she didn't know that, one, you really wanted to do this, and two, you had nobody else to do it.
Well, she was aware that both Jesse and Joey were supposed to be the babysitters, ended up sick, and then, you know, like, they looked at her, but she did leave. Like, I think like this was all kind of like, I don't think that Danny purposely shoved this in her face to get her to come around. And I think he was 100% ready to just, you know, take the L and just, you know, babysit everybody. But I also think that, like, I feel like there are some households that wouldn't even give their kids the option, and I think that would be wrong. I think that there's too much assumption on sometimes the oldest of having to kind of do those things. It's in the previous episode, we had this whole dynamic of, oh, well, there's so many benefits to being the oldest. Like, you get to do everything first. And it's like, well, here's her first thing that she gets to do, and she has to compromise it because of the rest of the household. It's complicated. And I
here's
think,
my thing, right? Is like, yeah, you're supposed to get access to certain things first because you're the oldest. But when you're in a situation like where DJ is, where you're the oldest, but you also are missing a parent, and you're expected to pull through for your sibling in a way that you weren't expected to do months ago, it is very different. Because you're instead of stepping up in the ways that you're able to, you're choosing to allow your child to take burdens off of you because it helps you, but it also forces them to grow up way earlier than they needed to. Like, I feel like her even having in the brain of, well, dad said he's okay, but I know he really wants to do this, so let me just ask my friend's mom to take me back home so I could be a babysitter, is way too much of an adult brain for her to have at that age. She should have been happy to be at the sleepover. She should have been excited to be able to do all of those things. She should have been able to actually do it. And even when she came back and offered, Danny should have been the parent and said, no, you know what? I'm going to take care of this because that is on me.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that, like, if it was a different situation, like if Danny was working like at a diner or, you know, retail or something like that, where it's just like, no, I really can't, like, I can lose my, you know what I mean? Like,
if it was one of those things where you could lose your job, yes. Even if it was one of those things where it could give you a promotion, yes, I get it, because that's going to help you all do better. But this is just an opportunity that you wanted to take that would have ultimately led to nothing. You still would have been working the same job with the exact same salary. The only difference is that you would have been able to do this one thing. That is the only big difference. And it's not like it's the only time he would have been able to do it. He's a sportscaster. It would have come up again at another time, probably at a time where it would have been a lot less inconvenient.
Yeah. I think if DJ had said from jump, you know what, it's fine, I'll do it, it's one thing. But I think you're right. The fact that she went out and came back and had that burden bring her back, it sucks.
That is where my issue lies, is because I feel like a lot of parents see it like, oh my God, my daughter's growing up so fast.
No, kids should not. And like, that's the other
look, they can grow up fast without having that adult mindset of, let me make sure I can take care of my parent.
Yeah.
They're too young to have that mindset, in my opinion. Too young to have that mindset. Having that thought process, I can understand it. But they should still have the mindset of, well, dad said I can do this, so I can do this. There should be no guilt trip afterward. Even if it's not coming directly from the parent, they know that you need them there in order for you to do something you really want to do. We've already seen beforehand that DJ, even when she really wants something, if it means making somebody else feel better, she will go out of her way to do that. And this just feels like a way of making sure that she does that, because that's exactly what she did. She went out of her way instead of getting her first, Danny got his.
DJ asks if anyone needs anything, and they all ramble off a list of needs. And that's pretty much it. But yeah, I do agree with you. This does kind of bring up a discussion on, you know, parentification and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I agree. It shouldn't have been on DJ. It sucks that it was on DJ. But I also understand that sometimes family is a group effort kind of thing, especially after losing a spouse or a parent. But it sucks that we're already seeing it kind of fall on her, you know.
I mean, not even kind of at this point. She, like, from the early points when, like, I think it was like episode, somewhere between episode 1 and 3. Like, she was told already that she was going to be needed to step up in ways that she wasn't expected to step up beforehand because Danny's going to need the help. And on one hand, I understand having that conversation because you're a newly single parent. On the other hand, I don't understand why you put that burden on an elementary schooler, knowing that their world has already been turned upside down by losing a parent midlife.
But yeah, do we have a not in my house moment?
Yeah, Danny shouldn't have been telling DJ all the business. She didn't need to know that he had a thing that he wanted to be at work for. That was like an optional thing. It's like when you get told by a teacher that that there's a field trip, you don't have to go on it, but you really want to. Like I felt like even if it was unintentional, there was a buildup of guilt being delivered to DJ to make the decision she made at the end.
I want to say the nut in my house moment might be how close Stephanie actually got to walking out the door.
You know, yeah.
Like, Jesse did catch her, but homegirl would have been out of there.
I mean, okay. Honestly, let me change it. The not in my house moment would have been the blowhorn.
Oh, yeah. No.
You completely, like, I forgot about it until you said that. Mine is it's gonna have to be the blowhorn, because that was crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah, how dare you? It just reminds me of that, and I think it's a meme now. That moment in Rugrats where Angelica has like a broken leg, and she also has some kind of bell, and she wants pudding, and Stu is making pudding in the middle of the night, and Dee Dee says, "Stu, it's midnight. Why are you making pudding?" "Because I've lost control of my life."
It's such an adult thing. I just love it. I love it. I love it. I miss the Rugrats. There's just a lot of really good moments in there. We're gonna have to do that series as well.
You know, it's. I'm gonna be honest. There's some great moments in that series, but it's just moments. It doesn't hold up as much as some of the other shows from back then. I'm not gonna lie.
I haven't watched it since it would have been before I graduated high school. So we're talking like sometime in like the early 2010s. Like, I haven't seen it in years, so I'm sure my perspective of it when I was a kid is going to be a lot different than what it is now. And I'm talking not even just Rugrats, but like Rugrats grown up. Like, I watched a bit of that too. That came out right before I graduated, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would have been watched with like kid brain, where my mind didn't absorb things in the same way it absorbs things now. So I don't know how I would feel about it now.
I'm interested because it was my jam when I was a kid. It was one of my favorites. And then running it back as an adult, I'm like, this is a little creepy.
Yeah.
And there are some moments where I am just a little bit uncomfortable and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to feel. But I also didn't go through the entire series. It might come into its own a little bit more, but hey, you know, there's possibilities. Let us know in the comments, y'all. You want us to run it back with the Rugrats? Let's go. Although Rugrats in Paris, classic. That movie holds up all that. Like, yes, Rugrats in Paris holds up.
I own very few movies on YouTube, so I make sure I can have access to them. That is definitely one of them.
Yep.
Aged perfectly.
All right, so what is our get the violins moment? I'm sure that they want it to be when DJ came through and said, "This is my chance to do something for you," but that might be a little bit not the business.
You know what?
For us.
No, I am going to make that my get the violins moment, but for DJ, not for Danny, because DJ lost a part of her childhood that day.
Damn. No, but you're right.
Facts.
But
She lost a part of her childhood that day because Danny wanted to go and fulfill a portion of his childhood.
It's true. Yeah, she did. She did have to miss out. I would have to say the same. I did like the moment of Jesse and Stephanie just leveling on the fact that they both had to miss out on something due to this sickness. But I do think that, you know, the violins actually do literally kick in when DJ decides to come back. So
yeah, just not for the reasons people would think.
Right.
For complete opposite reasons, realistically.
Right. And then we have a dad like Danny. I from the conversation so far, I don't think we're resonating with the parental practices that Danny put into place today.
No, oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of maybe like one thing that he did that you know what? I will say that I can give him props for pushing her to go despite her being like, are you sure you don't want me to stay? I can give him props for that.
Yeah. At least
that's
he tried.
That's the best I got, though. That's literally that's like I am searching for that one, but that is the best I got, and that feels like it barely even fits the description. So yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got for him, at least this episode.
Word up. Yeah, no, I would be the same. I think Danny, it does seem like he tried to exercise and exhaust all of his options before resulting to DJ, which I do appreciate. But I do think that you're right. He should have just said, you know what? I can't do it. So
yeah. Instead of trying to hold out until the very last minute, he knew he wasn't going to be able to do it when he found out that he had no babysitter. And even, what was it? The last phone call was like 36 minutes before he was supposed to be there.
How are you going to make it in LA traffic? Exactly. Oh wait, no, they're in San Fran, but still.
Even San Fran traffic is crazy. Now, I don't know if it was crazy back in the late 80s. However, I know that now it is very crazy. There's a reason why they have a trolley, why most people jump on buses now. It is crazy. All of California traffic realistically is kind of crazy. So like 36 by the hour mark, and by the last person telling you I don't have it, you should have just called your boss and been like, you know what? I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna be able to make it. It sucks. And I'm sure that hurts a little bit because it's something that he definitely wanted to do, but you're a parent. And at this moment, the adulting has to happen.
Yeah, I agree. Man, another crazy one for us. Any other final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Nah, I think I said more than enough this time. I feel like I came out with a lot of my own personal opinions this time, and they were honestly this episode and like a couple episodes ago. I've had some very harsh opinions when it comes to some of these things. That's just who I am, though. I'm a very opinionated person. So yeah, I feel like I've gotten out a majority of what I had to say, and I'm gonna leave it where it lies.
And to be fair, this is a sitcom from the late 80s. I think you've been mad gracious compared to like some of the stuff we could be calling out. So
true.
Yeah.
Because there are some things we could be calling out, but I'm trying not to pull out things that could just be relayed to it. I'm trying to stick with what they gave us and what's in front of us. But there's a lot of conversations we could be had about this.
Yeah. And but this is kind of why I appreciate having you here, because I know that I'm biased and I'm so stuck. I live in this delusional house, and it's good to have people who don't. And we'll see when one specific character comes into their own who doesn't live in that house and is constantly just kind of breaking that delusion. It becomes excellent. We'll see how that works out. But
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, I think we can send off.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone.
Please remember to like, subscribe, follow, all the things, and stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, this is Dak
and M reminding you
to not parentify your kids if you can help it.
That's a good one.
We love you all.